KK Wagh Secondary School and Junior College, Saraswati Nagar, Nasik. Light symbolizes brightness and prosperity. It removes the forces of darkness and gives us positivity. In spiritual word, light means life. So we can also think of light as giving us new direction in life. With this noble thought, let us start this morning by lighting the lamp in front of Goddess Saraswati. Ma Saraswati is a symbol of knowledge, music, art, wisdom, and nature. May the divine power blesses us all.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्कर प्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा।
वाइट ही बेटर चलता है। वाइट डिस्टर्बेंस क्या है? इधर की तरफ से।
Now, I would like to request Honorable Principal Dr. Nisha Indet Ma'am to give introduction of today's webinar on basics of mathematics and science.
Yeah. A very warm welcome to all the attendees for today's webinar. I welcome all of you on behalf of KK Wagh Secondary School and Junior College, Saraswati Nagar. Dear all students and teacher attendees, today's webinar we have arranged for the students from grade 6 to grade 10th. One day before, on 22nd of December, we had a webinar for the subject English, where we had resource person Shri Yashwant Dhage sir. Under the able guidance and leadership of Honorable Dr. Bhushan Kadile sir, we are marching ahead with the various activities and training programs, orientations online, so to ensure that the learning goes on. The creative ideas are reaching to the students and students are enjoying their learning even sitting at home. Today's webinar is the same example, marching ahead with the same zest of learning new things with fun and enjoyment. For all the students, maximum students find subject English and maths either very troublesome or very boring. But here is a person who makes these subjects very enjoyable, and students in his class actually enjoy these subjects, science and maths both, and they have a fun while learning these subjects, science and maths. The person is today's resource person. This is our privilege to have Shri Anil Kumar Dikshit sir, the ex-principal of Kendriya Vidyalaya, and at present sir is with us as a advisor for Kekewag Universal Schools, that are the CBSE schools of Kekewag Education Society. Shri Anil Kumar Dikshit sir, since I know him from last 4-5 years, he is a man of wisdom. The way he communicates with the children never find that burden that the very highly experienced and qualified person is talking to them. He makes the class so lively that each child feels like the science and the math subjects are very, very close to their heart, and there are a lot of scopes to learn this subject with creativity and innovation. Shri Anil Kumar Dikshit sir is a scholar person who has the basics of science and maths on his fingertips. You will gradually get to know this experience, what I have been experienced through his address to all of you. So I welcome you, sir, and I express my gratitude towards you for accepting our invitation. This is probably the first time the SSC students have got that privilege to listen to you as a resource person. I hope, children, you will enjoy the session, and henceforth we'll plan the same sessions for both the subjects in the second term by the end of the second term as well. I request Monica teacher to proceed for the further the address of Shri Anil Kumar Dikshit sir.
Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable guidance. The world is full of diamonds and gems, and we are having some of them here today with us to build this event. With this note, I would like to give my warmest welcome to our today's resource person. Today, we are blessed by the presence of Honorable Shri Anil Kumar Dikshit sir. His qualification is MSc in Mathematics, B.Ed and M.Ed. Sir has 33 years of overall experience in teaching and educational administration in Kendriya Vidyalaya. Sir also served as principal for 13 years and PGT maths teacher for 15 years. Sir achieved KVS Regional Initiative Award for dedicated service. Sir working as director for CBSE schools under 2 Educational Trust. Okay, due to network issue, I was disconnected. His educational qualification is MSc in Mathematics, B.Ed and M.Ed. Sir has 33 years of overall experience in teaching and educational administration in Kendriya Vidyalaya. Sir also served as principal for 13 years and PGT maths teacher for 15 years. Sir achieved KVS Regional Initiative Award for dedicated service. Sir working as director for CBSE schools under 2 Educational Trust. At present, Sir is working as advisor of Kekewag Universal Schools. Give a huge round of applause to the man of distinct vision and fountainhead of illuminating ideas, an idol of knowledge and versatile personality we have with us today to build this event. Now, I request our distinguished resource person, Honorable Shri Anil Kumar Dikshit sir, to address us. Thank you.
Okay, so good morning to everybody. Honorable Dr. Kadaleji, Coordinator of Kekewag Education Society, Schools and Colleges, is present. respected principals of various schools and junior colleges, especially host principal of today's program, Mrs. Nisa Indite, all our learned teachers taking mathematics and science in various institutions under the KK Wag Education Society, and first and foremost, my all lovely children. Today, I have an opportunity to interact with you, to share my ideas, particularly the subject mathematics, which is in general is taking to be the very rigid and boring subject. But fact is, I think this is the most interesting subject. If few things are clear to us, particularly I would like to appeal to all the teachers present in this webinar that they have to take a little bit care whenever they are starting any topic. Then if basics and fundamentals are made more clear, they have to give the stress to the basics and fundamentals. I think this will be the most interesting subject. And if suppose this basic is not clear, automatically the children am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Now you're audible. Yes, sir.
Earlier voice problem was there.
No, sir.
Okay. So now, without any actually great introduction or bigger introduction, I would like to start the subject. So for that, first of all, what I told you, because here children are present, I think from class 6 to 10th. If even 11th and 12th children are there, it's not an issue, because I'm not going to take any particular topic. I'm just going to take the basics and the mistakes which generally students commit. So first of all, I would like to start the system of measurement. It's of use not only in mathematics, but also equally useful in the science also. So system of measurements. In general, we take three systems of measurement. First is MKS, and this is also called SI unit. Second is CGS, and third is FPS. One thing also I would like to appeal to all the children as well as even teachers also present here, that they should get ready with the pen and the notebook. So something, whatever they think it is important, they have to note it. So here MKS, as clear from its name, meter, kilogram, second. And SI unit, generally it is actually globally we use international system of unit, and so in short we say SI unit. So it is meter, kilogram and second. As it is clear, meter means it is the distance and this is the mass and this is the time. So to measure distance, we take meter. For mass, it is kilogram and time it is second. Similarly, in CGS, for distance, it is centimeter. For mass, it is gram and time it is second. Third one, FPS, foot. It is, you can say, some old system. Foot, pound and second. We use this system of measurement. Now, one thing related to this, I would like to just give a hint that sometimes for few children, it is very difficult how to change. So, just side by side, I am taking it. I am giving a tip how to learn without cramming all these type of actually distances. So the highest distance is kilometer and then hectometer and then decameter and then meter. Next is decimeter, centimeter, and last one is millimeter. If you learn all these names, which is the unit to measure the length in this sequence, I think unit can be changed into other by a simple hint that as we go down, it just multiply by 10. For example, I'm just rubbing this time. If it is 1 kilometer, then in 1 kilometer it is 10 hectometer and then 100 decameter and it is 1000 meter. Similarly, if we go down more, just add 1 zero. It is 10,000. 10,000 means it can be written as 10 to the power 4. I think class 6 children are aware about it or not? I'm sorry. They are not power to the power. Okay. So teacher can explain that 10 to the power 4 means 10,000. Similarly, centi means it is 10 to the power 5. Means 50 after 1. Similarly, millimeter means it is 10 to the power 6. In other words, some more explanation. Suppose I ask 1 hectometer equal to how many decameter? You just simply count the step. How many steps you are coming down? So 1 hectometer is how many decameter? It is 10 because you are coming just one step down. 1 hectometer equal to how many meter? You are coming how many steps down? 1, 2. So 2 0 after 1, that is 100. 1 hectometer equal to 100 meter. Similarly, now I am taking zigzag. Suppose I am asking 1 meter equal to how many decimeter? Naturally, I am just coming one step down. So only 1 0. So 1 meter equal to 10 decimeter. I think this concept is clear. One thing more I would like to suggest to all the participants, if somebody is having any problem, in chat box they can just write the problem. I would like to just remove their doubt if at a time. So as soon as you are getting any problem, immediately you go to chat box and just put your problem. Similarly, one more example I would like to share here. 1 meter equal to, suppose I am asking how many centimeter. So it means after meter you come down 1, 2. So put 2 0 after 1. So 1 meter equal to 100 centimeter. In the same way, if 1 meter equal to how many millimeter? 1 after meter, 1, 2, 3. So just put 30 after 1. So 1 meter equal to 1000 millimeter. I think this is clear to each and everyone. Similarly, now again I take some example. 1 decimeter equal to how many centimeter? After deci, you just coming one step down. So 1 decimeter equal to 10 centimeter. In the same way, 1 decimeter equal to how many millimeter? I think it will be clear to each and everyone. After deci, just count the steps 1, 2. So 1 decimeter equal to 100 millimeter. So clear to everybody? Now, one more advantage of this sequence, but for that actually the important is that you have to learn this sequence. This is very important. So you just give 3 to 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and you learn that what is there after which name. So one more question I am taking example. 1 decameter equal to how many centimeter? So easy, after deca, just count the steps 1, 2, 3. So 30 after 1 means 1 decameter equal to 1000 centimeter. Clear? So I think this is clear. Now one more use of this sequence. Suppose just see whatever the example I have taken, all examples I have taken, I am asking something upside is equal to what downside. If suppose its reverse is there, then what you have to do? Suppose, for example, I am asking 1 meter equal to how many decameter? So now this is the reverse case. 1 meter equal to how many decameter? So if it is in reverse order, then what you do, simply you speak, just count the step, meter equal to deca, only one step above. So 1 meter equal to, only you write 1 upon 10 decameter. 1 meter equal to 1 upon 10 decameter. One, yeah. Like that?
Which is the largest unit of distance?
Light year.
or centimeter?
It is light year. Yes. One child who asked? Vedant More. Okay. Just going little bit apart, one question is there in the chat box. Vedant More asked that which is the largest unit of the distance? It is a light year. And light year, just in one line, I would like to explain the speed of light. I think everybody in physics, you are familiar speed of light. 3 into 10 to the power 9 meter per second, or in short you can say a light ray can make 3 revolution of the earth in 1 second. So whatever the distance covered by the light in 1 year, that distance is called 1 light year. You can imagine the distance covered by the ray, light ray in 1 year. 1 year means 365 into 24 into 60 into 60 seconds. If we convert 1 year into second, and then this much a huge quantity is multiplied by the speed of light. So you can imagine that how big quantity will be there, and that is measured in 1 light year. And one more related example I would like to share with you, that even after this highest speed of the light, the sun ray from sun to earth, it takes round about 8 minutes. After the sunrise, the light coming from the sun to the earth, it takes about 8 minutes from sun to earth. Just you can imagine that how far away we are from the sun. Yes, so come back to this system. But what I was explaining, I have taken one example, that if suppose something is asked that what will be 1 meter equal to how many decameter, so you simply count the step, but it is now the reverse order. So whatever the step, that is put the 0 after 1, and but that will be 1 upon. So 1 meter equal to 1 upon 10 decameter. Similarly, in reverse order, 1 meter equal to how many kilometer? Suppose asked 1 meter equal to how many kilometer? Means 1 upon, just count the step 1, 2, 3. So 30 after 1, that is 1000. So 1 upon 1000 kilometer. 1 meter equal to 1000 kilometer. In the same way, you can come here also. 1 millimeter equal to how many centimeter? Clearly 1 upon 10. I don't think any confusion is there to anybody. Similarly, 1 millimeter equal to how many decimeter? 1 upon 100 decimeter, because 2 steps we are going upside. 1 millimeter equal to how many meter? 1, 2, 3, that is 1 upon 1000. So 1 millimeter equal to 1 upon 1000 meter. Some more examples. 1 centimeter equal to how many meter? So 1 centimeter equal to, just count the step, 1, 2, so that is 1 upon 100 meter. More example, 1 centimeter equal to how many decameter? So count the steps after centimeter, 1, 2, 3. So 1 centimeter equal to 1 upon 1000 decameter. And similarly others also. So you just give 3-4 minutes at home and write down various units in the form of other unit, because it is very useful not only in 11th and 12th physics and chemistry, in numericals or in experiments when we do the calculations. It will be always useful to all of you, and you will never get any confusion, and never it will be the wrong. Yes. No, some Sarthak Mahale has asked, what is the meaning of Goldilocks zone? Actually, I don't have any idea of this Goldilocks zone. And it is related to, I don't know whether it is related to mathematics, physics or chemistry. I will find out it, but at present I can't answer because no idea about the Goldilocks zone. If Sarthak is having any idea in chat box, he can just give one line of this definition. What do he mean by Goldilocks zone? Okay. Yes. So after these units, now just I'm going ahead. That is the properties of zero. I know that whatever I am teaching here, many students are already familiar to that. So absolutely not a problem. It may be a revision for them, but I think it will be very useful to many children. So that is the properties of zero. First, 0 upon any number equal to 0. When we say any number, this number may be arithmetic or this number may be of algebra. So doesn't matter. But for any number, 0 upon any number equal to 0. Second is 0 into any number. That is also equal to 0. Third is any number upon 0. This is infinite. This in 6th and 7th children are here. I think it will be a little bit beyond their syllabus. I don't know whether they are knowing infinite or not. In brief, I will just like to discuss just now what is infinite. And fourth, last property of 0 is any number to the power 0 equal to 1. What I told you, again I am repeating, this any number may be of arithmetic or algebra, so it doesn't matter. Now let us just few minutes, I would like to discuss this infinite. I think everybody is familiar about the infinite in general. What is the word's meaning? Infinite means which is very, very, very large number. So that is called infinite. But for a very large number, one more term is there in mathematics, uncountable. So now the question arises, what is the difference between infinite and uncountable? Right? So many examples you can quote. If suppose I'm saying how many liter water is there in the sea, so it is uncountable or infinite? It may be a question. The water in the sea. So many of you may be of view that it is infinite or it is uncountable. But truly speaking, it is uncountable, not infinite. Though it's a very, very large number, just I have given the example of 1 light year, that is that distance is very large. So it doesn't mean that it cannot be countable. Similarly, if we say the second example, how many stars are there in the sky? So that is also, you can say, uncountable, because whatever the atmosphere, or you can say the universe we see, when we say the universe, then so many, actually you can say, if we go, so many universes are there, some galaxies are there, so it is also uncountable. And similarly, so many examples may be there. Suppose we say, how many hairs are there in our head? That is also an example. So whether it is uncountable or infinite, that is also uncountable. So you can also go through, you can Google it, and you can just go in the, just I'm giving you a simple way to go the details of uncountable and infinite. So this is all about this uncountable and infinite. Now, third thing I would like to discuss here about the linear equations actually. Linear equations, type of linear equations, and how to solve, and how the geometrical representation of the linear equations. You know, linear equation, a equation in two variable. Linear equation. In general, equation ax plus by plus c equal to 0 is called linear equation. Why it is linear equation? Because if we plot it on the graph, then in 2 dimensions we can plot it. Here x and y are the variable, x and y are variable, and a, b, c are constant. So with the various values of a, b, c, we will get different points, and if we plot them on a graph, we will get a straight line, and that's why it is called linear equation. Now some properties. If suppose two linear equations are there, a1x plus b1y plus c1 equal to 0, and other is a2x plus b2y plus c2 equal to 0. Now, for that, there may be 3 cases. If graphically I represent, in short, see, these equations may be of this type. They are intersecting each other. First case. Second case, these equations may be of this type. That is the parallel lines. And third case may be there. See here. This is x and y axis. Suppose this is a line, one line, and this is the second line. Means they are overlapping each other. In this case, I will just take one by one case, that how we can, by observing simply the equations, how we can know among these 3 which one is the case. If we take first case, then these lines are intersecting, and intersecting at one point. So this is the common point in 2 lines, and this is also called the solution of these 2 equations. Let it be x1 y1. Some fixed point x1 y1 is the solution of 2 equations. This is your first equation, and this is the second equation. So this is the solution of equation 1 and 2, because they are intersecting at one specific point. In this case, because these are the parallel line, first and second, and you know the definition of parallel line. Parallel lines go up to infinite and they never intersect each other. So you can say there is no solution, because whatever you increase upside or downside these two lines, they will go up to infinite, but they will never intersect at any point. So that's why they have no solution. I think clear. And now it is the third case. In third case, both lines are coinciding each other, means every point is common in these two lines. So every point is the solution of these two equations, and so you can say they have the infinite number of solutions. Now see how we can check with this. So case 1, if a1 upon a2 is not equal to b1 upon b2 is not equal to c1 upon c2, then they are intersecting line. Intersecting lines. Intersecting line means they are having only one solution. Second case, if a1 upon a2 equal to b1 upon b2 not equal to c1 upon c2, then they are parallel lines. And parallel, यहाँ intersecting line means you can write in the bracket one solution, and parallel lines means no solution, because no point is common. And third case is if a1 upon a2 equal to b1 upon b2 equal to c1 upon c2, then they are coincident line. And coincident lines means infinite solution. Yes, so they are having infinite solutions. And if you would like to see the particular example, then you can also write. I think you have already written, so I'm just writing it. I'm writing a particular lines question. Suppose 2x plus 3y plus 4 equal to 0. And other line is 3x plus 5 or 3x minus 5 by minus 2 equal to 0. If you just observe them without solving, you can predict that what nature of solution is there with these lines. You see here, it is 2 upon 3, a1 upon a2, and it is 3 upon 5. So 2 upon 3, and it is 3 upon 5, and it is 4 upon minus 2. Meeting. Yes, so you see this is not equal to this, this is not equal to this, and hence this is the first case that they are the intersecting line. They are having only unique solution. Better, the mathematics term is unique solution. Now just I'm changing little bit. Suppose this is the case, second case, 2 upon 3 equal to 2 upon 3 equal to 3 upon No, no, this will not be there. It will should be 4. Now, if we change 4x plus 6y minus 2 equal to 0. So in this case, 2 upon 4, it is 3 upon 6. Ultimately, this is ratio 1 upon 2, both. So this is the second case when a1 upon a2 equal to b1 upon b2. Half equal to half, but not equal to c1 upon c2. It will be 2 something. So this is the second case where if you plot the graph of these lines, you will get the parallel equations. And in third case, all are equal. So here also you can take, suppose it is equal to 4 upon 8. 2x plus 3y plus 4 equal to 0. 4x plus 6y plus 8 equal to 0. So 2 upon 4, 3 upon 6, 4 upon 8. Half, half, half. So this is the third case when all three ratios are equal. And in that case, they are the coincident lines, means when you will plot the graph, ultimately you will get the same line. So infinite number of solutions will be there. So this is all about your lines, various types of lines. Now, related to this, a very, I will say, a simple questions, generally the people get confused. Because it is a online class, otherwise physically, if suppose class is there, if I ask, what is the equation of x-axis? Sometimes, though it's a very primary question, when we start the graph, then it should be clear in the class, and so many of our colleagues have also taken the note of it that before going to the two-dimensional graph, they have to explain in the class the equation of x-axis and y-axis. Suppose this is the graph. Origin x-axis, y-axis, minus x and minus y. So this is the x-axis. So what will be the equation of x-axis? For that, actually, this is equation of x-axis is y equal to 0. Whatsoever the point you take on x-axis, suppose it is, this point will be 1 0, it is 2 0, it is 4 0. Similarly, here it will be minus 1 0, minus 2 0, and so on. So all the y coordinate of for any point on x-axis will be 0. So y equal to 0. Keep this thing in mind. Sometimes it is asked. Y equal to 0 is the equation of x-axis. Now I think it will be clear to you. Second, equation of y-axis is x equal to 0. Because you take any point on y-axis, what will be the important thing? It will be 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. Similarly, in negative direction, it will be 0, minus 1, 0, minus 2, and so on. So these are the equations. Now, just the application part of this x-axis and y-axis, if I say okay. So now plot the graph of, suppose x equal to 3. Now it becomes a question to many children. They think how to plot the graph, because if suppose we want some, because to plot the graph there should be some points. Without points you can't plot the graph. So what to do? Y coordinate is not there here. So when y coordinate not there, how you can get the value of the y coordinate? And x is having only 3. So just directly I am saying what you do in such cases, you write 3 everywhere in the x coordinate, correct? And for y coordinate, because this equation is not depending on the other coordinate, it is free from the second coordinate. So what you do, you write whatever you like in the y coordinate. It may be 1, it may be 2, it may be 0, it may be -2, like that. So these 4 points are sufficient to plot the graph. And if suppose we plot the graph of this line, see what speciality will be there. X, Y, origin. 3, 1, it is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, for example. 3, 1, this is the point. It is 3, 1. Second point, 3, 2. So it is 3 and it is 2. 3, 1 and this is 3, 2 because it is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So 3, 2 it will be the point like this. 3, 0. 3, 0 will be this point. Its coordinates are 3, 0. And 3, -2. It is -1, -2. So this is the point 3, -2. If we join them, this will be the equation. This will be the graph of the equation x equal to 3. So whenever we plot x equal to 3, what is the specialty? You will get a line parallel to y-axis. So make this thing in your mind clear that whenever only one variable equation is plotted on the graph, then we get a line parallel to the other axis. In the same way, for your home path, you can plot suppose y equal to -2. Plot y equal to -2. What you will do? Simply when you will make the table, so in y everywhere -2 and in x, because it is not depending on the variable x, so you can write anything in the x coordinate. It may be 0, 1, -1, 2. And when we'll plot all these coordinate in the x and y axis, you will get a line parallel to x axis because 0, -2, this is the point. 0, -2, 1, -2, same point, 1, -2 here, -1, -2 here, -1, -2, and if you join them, you will get a line like this. So this is a line y equal to -2, and that will be the parallel to the x-axis. So it is all about, I think, the graph, linear equations. They are plotting different x and y variables, equations with independent equations or having only one variable. I think this is clear. So just solve 5-6 questions related to that, and I think the concept will be clear to all of you. So now I would like to stop here about the mathematics, because I would also take some concepts of science. So let us come to the science now. Okay. Yes. Science. Some basic things I would like to introduce here. First of all, speed and velocity. a very basic concepts. In general, they look like same, and though as far as magnitude is concerned, they are same. Only the difference is, I don't know in 9th and 10th whether they know or not scalar quantity and vector quantity. They know scalar and vector? Hey? Okay. For 6, 7 children, it may be a little bit unknown thing, but not an issue. Speed is a scalar quantity, and definition of scalar, everybody, one who is in touch is well familiar. It has only magnitude, no direction. Speed means only magnitude, no direction. And velocity means magnitude and direction both. Okay. One more concept is there, displacement. What do you mean by displacement? Because they are almost similar thing. Or better to say, we should say distance and displacement. Distance and displacement. See, example. From the point A, suppose somebody is going to the point B, 10 meter apart. So distance covered is equal to 10 meter. Second example. Somebody is going from A to B, 10 meter. He is going like this, right? And then coming from B to A, again 10 meter. So in this case, displacement equal to 0, while distance covered is 10 plus 10 equal to 20 meters. I think clear? Displacement means the initial position and final position difference of initial position to final position. So in this case, if suppose somebody is going from A to B and then coming from B to A, so A is the initial position as well as the final position. So he is actually, or that fellow is at the same point, and hence there is no displacement. Similarly, distance covered, because 10 meter he is going one side and again coming back 10 meters, so distance covered is 20 meter. So I think this concept of displacement and distance is clear. Now I have to take one more example for this. Suppose this is a circle. Of radius r, and this is an arc AB. If we join AB, this will be the chord. If suppose somebody is going through the circumference of the circle from A to B, right? In this case, second example. So A to B displacement is equal to length of arc AB. This is the not displacement, this is the distance. A to B distance covered is A to B, that is through the arc part of the circumference. First. Second, displacement is chord AB. This is the displacement, final position to initial position, whatever it is. But natural displacement is less while distance covered is more. So concept of distance and displacement from these two examples will be clear to all the children. Now let us come to the related to equation of motion. Equations of motion. I think many of you will be familiar about the first equation of motion, that is V equal to U plus AT. This equation is nothing but simply a definition of acceleration, right? What is acceleration? C. Acceleration, rate of change of velocity is called acceleration. For example, for any object going from A to B, here its initial velocity is U. After a time t, its velocity becomes v. Then what is the change in velocity? Change in velocity equal to v minus u. And this change happens in what time? In time t. So what is rate of change of velocity? Rate of change of velocity equal to v minus u upon upon t. And as per definition, this left side is nothing but a. So a equal to v minus u upon t. Or if you just transfer them, you will get v equal to u plus at. So your first equation of motion is nothing but the definition of acceleration. I think clear to everybody. Now, unit of acceleration. Unit of acceleration. It is the, see the quantity here. Acceleration is, as per definition, it is the ratio of velocity to the time. So v final velocity, u initial velocity, and difference of that will again be a velocity. So what is the unit of velocity? I think everybody is familiar. Meter per second upon time. Unit of time, just initially we have discussed about the CGS, MKS and SI unit and FPS unit. So unit of time in all three systems is always second. So ultimately this is meter per second square. This is the unit of acceleration. Unit of A, meter per second square, right? Now let us come to three concept of basic physics, that is the work, power and energy. Work, power and energy. So number one, what is work? Before going through detail of work, I would like to give a very interesting concept, that is the mass and weight. This is very interesting. So just forget for a few minutes that topic and come here. That is the mass and weight. When we say we have purchased 2 kg sugar from the market, we purchased sugar 2 kg from market. If I ask, this 2 kg is the mass of the sugar or weight of the sugar? Many children get confused and they think, generally in our usual language, what we say, this is the weight of the sugar. We say generally, go and purchase 2 kg. And we also ask to the shopkeeper, please give me 2 kg. So shopkeeper also think that this is the weight, and you also think that this is the weight. No, this 2 kg is not the weight. This is the 2 kg is mass of the sugar. Why it is mass? And what is the difference between mass and weight? That is also a very, very important question. Difference between mass and weight. A basic difference is mass never changes. It is irrespective of the place. If suppose we are having 2 kg sugar at the earth, if we go to the moon and if we weigh it, the sugar will be 2 kg. Why it is so? Just if we take a pen balance, right? Just I am giving a simple example and then concept will be clear to you. So suppose here it is the sugar, right? And these are the weight. This is weight. What we do when we go to the shopkeeper just put 2 kg one side and the material, that is in this case sugar, so sugar in the other side. And what we, this is the actually axis. So when balance becomes horizontal, then he gives you this 2 kg sugar and he says that yes, this is the 2 kg sugar, and you come back to your home. So what happens here actually scientifically? Just see, when two pens are there of this balance, then acceleration due to gravity G is applied here. Similarly, so this G is just attracting this pen of the balance towards the earth. In the same time, for this pen also G is applied here. And this pen is also attractive towards the earth with the same force, that is the G. So if I say when two G's are there and they are just towards the earth, so naturally if you say, you can say it is the equal and in opposite direction. It is the tendency of G to rotate the axis in the clockwise direction. Just imagine, if suppose this is the center and this is the diameter of a circle. And if suppose you are just pulling it towards downward, then what will be the action? It will be like this. So its intention is to rotate the balance in the clockwise direction. In the same way, the same force is just attracting towards this, and its intention will be to rotate this axis into anti-clockwise direction. And because both G are same at the same place, so ultimate effect of these two G on this balance will be what? Two equal force in opposite direction. So ultimate effect of these G will be 0. It has no effect either on this weight or on this matter, that is sugar in this case. And hence this is the mass of the sugar. Now, why I told you, if you take this balance and as well as this weight and this sugar to the moon, in moon this gravity acceleration due to gravity is almost 1/6 to the earth in moon. So do you think that these 2 kg sugar will be 1/6 at moon? No, because at these two pen, suppose at earth this G is almost equal to 9.8 meter per second square, or you can say 10 meter per second square. So this is also 10 meter per second square. If you go to the moon, but naturally it will be 10 upon 6, it will be 10 upon 6. So ultimate effect of this acceleration due to gravity at the moon will be nil at this balance, and hence it will weigh the same 2 kg sugar at the moon. Now what happens in the case of spring balance? This is the spring balance, and here this is the pen. And what we do, and you know, I think you have gone through the spring balance. Here some pointer is there like this, and this is 1, 2, 3 like this, 4, 5 something. Numbering is there. And what we do, we just put the material here. It just pulled due to G is working here towards the earth. So what happens? This pointer comes down, and wherever the pointer is just stable, and we say it is 5 kg, 4 kg, 3 kg like that. So in that case, see, G is working only one pen because one pen is there. So there is nothing to neutralize the effect of G. And when there is nothing to neutralize, it means this spring balance is giving you the, so ultimately what is the measurement? If suppose this is the mass M, then overall it is giving you mg. And what is mg? This is the weight, and weight is nothing but the force, mass into acceleration due to gravity. So this is the n. If suppose here what will happen, suppose 2 kg sugar was there. So in this particular example, 2 kg sugar and approximately 10 meter per second square is the G. So what will be there? 20 kg meter per second square. This is the unit of weight or force. So this will be 20 kg meter per second square at the earth. If you take it on the moon, it will not be 20 kg per meter square, because on the moon value of G is 1/6. So this will be on the moon. What will happen on moon? It will be 20 upon 6 kg meter per second square. And for your information, many of you will be familiar, this kg meter per second square is known as Newton. Because to just simplify, this all were discovered by the greatest scientist Newton. So in respect of his name, the unit of the force, That is actually, so that's why this is important. Children should know what is the theory behind it. Simply if I say it is 20 Newton, okay, you can explain. But if suppose somebody is asking, what do you mean by Newton? So this is the theory behind the Newton. It is actually the mass into acceleration due to gravity. And that is why its exact theoretical correct unit is kilogram meter per second square, which is called Newton. And one thing also you make in your mind clear, weight and force, basically they are same, because weight means acceleration due to gravity is affecting the quantity of the material, and ultimately this is equal to mg. And in some cases, because it is the vertically, acceleration due to gravity is working vertically downward. In other case, if suppose we take force, then what will happen? It is the mass into displacement. Sorry, it is not mass into acceleration. Because when there is a linear motion, it is the acceleration. That is F equal to ma. These and this both are actually same thing. So don't get confused and make this concept clear in your mind. Whenever weight is there, only the nomenclature is different. Ultimately, the physics behind that is the same. That is, here it is this mass is under the acceleration due to gravity, due to the earth. So that's why we write it equal to mg. And here this is for the linear motion. Right? If suppose any object is going in this direction with the acceleration a and mass of the object is m, then the force will be equal to ma. So I think concept of force is clear. Now, we after understanding all this terminology as well as concept, now we come back to the work which we want to explain you. I think everybody has noted all these things. So what is the work? Work is defined work equal to force into displacement. This is the definition of work. Example. If suppose m kg weight is displaced to 10 meter, then what is work done? Or you can say not take 10 meter, because we have m we have taken, so you can take here it is suppose any symbol you can take a meter. So work equal to force into displacement. So force will be m, not take the weight, it is m Newton force is applied. M into A. If suppose on this object m Newton force is applied, and due to which it is displaced to a meter, it came from A to B, then what is the work done? Work done is m into A. So, or you can say because m we have taken for mass, so better force के लिए आप F ले लो. F and displacement is A, so work equal to F into A. Now again what will be the unit of work? So force unit is Newton and this is the meter. So unit of work is Newton meter. And in general in physics, this Newton meter is called joule, Joule. Just like Newton is also not a unit, in respect of the name of the scientist it is given. So in the same way, this work was done by the scientist Joule. So that's why the unit of work, actually it is Newton meter, but the name is given joules. So we measure our work in terms of joule. While how it is calculated, it is the force into displacement. Ten minutes remaining for 12:30. Okay. Now we come to energy. So just write down the definition of energy. Capacity to do work. Capacity to do work is called energy. For example, I will in brief I will take two type of energy. You will be familiar, that is potential energy as well as kinetic energy. So for potential energy, number one, potential energy. Suppose this is the mass m. So mass m means what will be the weight? Weight will be, it is working under g. So weight will be mg. And if you take this mass m to a height h, mg is taken. So naturally when you will take this mg to this height, you have to do the work. So how much work will be done? That is the force into displacement. Mg is nothing but the force. Weight means force. So this is equal to mg force into displacement, mgh. So this is the potential energy. And in the same way, it is Newton meter. Second one is kinetic energy. Kinetic energy, see example. It is force into displacement. Body with initial velocity u, with acceleration a, covering a distance s, and here velocity becomes v in time t. Once again I am repeating, u is the initial velocity of the body and it is with the acceleration a, it is coming to velocity v in time t and thereby covering the distance s. So by the third equation of motion, you know, v square equal to u square minus 2as. So from here s equal to what? V square minus u square upon 2a. So this is having the mass m. So force will be ma and displacement is s. So it will be v square minus u square upon 2a. Cancel. So that will be half m v square minus u square. If u equal to 0, what do we mean by u equal to 0? suppose we take the body from rest. Initial velocity is 0. Then what will be here? Kinetic energy will be half mv square. U is becoming 0. So this is the formula for the kinetic energy. So this is the two types of energy. I think clear to, and up to this extent, up to 10th class, it is more than sufficient. And in very few words, that is the power. So for power, what is the definition of power? It is the rate of doing work. Suppose if W work is done in time T, then power equal to W upon T. That is work done in time T. So can you tell, an unit of power is actually again just like case of work, we have given the joule. Here this power unit is watt. After the name of a scientist. So watt equal to, what is that? Work done. This is work done is joule and this is second. So it is joule per second. Theoretical actual unit of the power is joule per second, but in the honor of the scientist, this name is given watt. So you should be clear in your mind that is watt is nothing but the joule per second. In the same way here, and it's simple, 1 kilowatt equal to 1000 watt. Just like kilogram, kilometer, hectometer, like that. And now, one more important, you should know 1 kilowatt hour. What is 1 kilowatt hour? 1 kilowatt hour means 1000 watt into 1 hour. You know that unit of time is in all three systems is second. So you can say it is 1000 into 60 into 60. Watt second. So this will come about 36 into 10 to the power 5. So 1 kilowatt means 36 into 10 to the power 5 joules. Or sometimes we also say it as 3.6 into 10 to the power 6 joules. 3.6 into 10 to the power 6 joules. This is the 1 kilowatt hour. And interestingly, I would like to add here 1 kilowatt hour. So write very importantly, 1 kilowatt hour is called 1 unit in case of electricity. You know, in your house, electric meter is there, and it is quite familiar. We say that how many unit consumption is there, and when we get the bill, we say 100 unit light just consumed, or 150 or 200 or 300 unit light is consumed. So what's that unit? Actually, this unit is this. is nothing but 1 kilowatt hour. You can also explain this 1 unit of electricity. How? If 1 kilowatt, any instrument, any electrical gadget is working for 1 hour, how you can define it? You can write somewhere, if you can write the definition of 1 unit energy. You write the definition, if 1000 watt, 1 kilowatt means 1000 watt electric gadget is working for 1 hour, then consumption will be 1 unit electricity. I think this should be clear, because so many of you, some of you may be aware of it and so many of you will not be aware. What do we mean by 1 unit of electricity? So this is all about the power. Now, interestingly, actually, I would like to give some homework to all of you. So I'm giving you 3 puzzles of mathematics for your homework. So just write down, I'm just dictating, and you solve at home, and after that you convey me whether you will be able to solve or not all 3 or some of them. So write down puzzles. Number 1. On a river bank, one adult and 2 children, with one boat, with capacity to carry either one adult or 2 children, want to cross the river. How it may be possible? So you just think and find out the solution. And second puzzle, just you write. One man eats 3 bread. Woman eats 2 bread. And a child eats half bread. How 20 bread can be distributed among 20 people? Means this men, women and children, they all together are 20. So how 20 bread can be distributed among 20 people without making its pieces? I think this quiz is clear. Puzzle is clear. Once again, I am explaining. Just listen so that it should be clear in your mind. There are 20 people in which some men, some women and some children are there. They are having 20 bread and all together these are 20 persons. Now our question is that you have to distribute this 20 bread to this men, women and child, and but you can't give whatever is given. A man, if you are giving a bread man, then one man will take 3 bread, not less than 3 and not more than 3. Similarly, woman will take only exactly 2 bread, child will take only half bread. So you just think over it, how it can be distributed. Now, third and last puzzle, just write down 3 canes with capacity 10 liter, 7 liter, and 3 liter respectively. There are 3 canes with capacity 10 liter, sorry, 3 liter, 7 liter, and 10 liter respectively. 10 liter cane is full of oil. 10 liter cane is full of oil. There is no marking on the canes. This is also a question, condition. There is no marking on the canes. Now, how this oil can be divided into 5 liter each? I think this puzzle is clear. Once again, I'm just explaining, though puzzle is clear, so just listen, what is the explanation and what is the question. 10 liter cane is full of oil. You are having 2 empty canes, 3 liter and 7 liter. On any cane, there is no mark is given 1 liter, 2 liter, nothing is given. They are plain outside. Now your question is, you can pour the oil in any of the cane. You can transfer from one cane to another cane, whatever you like to do. So you make the efforts that the oil should be distributed into 2 parts of 5 liter each. Okay, so you just solve these puzzles and submit your solution to your schools. Through your principal, I would like to collect that how many of you can solve the problem. So thank you very much. I hope that you have not only learned the simple tips and basics of mathematics, but also up to some extent I'm successful in giving the enthusiasm, motivation to all of you. So go ahead and learn it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of KK Wagh Secondary School and Junior College, Saraswati Nagar, Nasik, towards Honorable Shri Balasaheb Wagh, the President, KK Wagh Education Society, Honorable S. Bandisa, the Secretary of KK Wagh Education Society, Honorable Dr. Bhushan Kardile, the Coordinator of KK Wagh Schools and Junior Colleges, for their encouraging guidance and support. I extend a very hearty vote of thanks to our resource person, Honorable Sri Anil Kumar Dikshit sir, and all the principals of KK Wagh English schools who spared the time from their busy schedule to grace the webinar. I would also like to thank Ms. Manisha Patotkar ma'am, the event coordinator, for her support. I also thank teachers who committed to the academic and overall development of the students. I also thank teachers who committed to the academic and overall development of the students. I commend the hard work put in by teaching and non-teaching staff. Last but not the least, I thank all the students. Thank you. With the permission of resource person, I declare the program is over.
Okay, Manisha, go ahead.